Hi guys, it's time to make this car look like a car again. So on this episode of the Nugget Project, we're going to put all the panels back on this thing and see how it looks. So one of the big YouTuber and car show tropes I hate is the unrealistic deadlines. It's like, we've got to get this car finished in 1 week or my girlfriend's going to leave me and piranhas are going to eat my genitals. It's dumb. However, I have given myself a timeline on this car. The reason being, next year is a big birthday for my wife. So we want to do a little trip away. We can't do a big trip at the moment, but we want to do a little trip together. So my mother-in-law has generously said she'll look after the kids for a week, and my wife has never been to Tassie. Now, I would like to go to Tassie too. It's a good place. I've been there a couple of times. There's a lovely little bit of countryside. There's also some really good driving roads down there. So I pitched it to my wife that I finish this thing and we take it over on the Spirit of Tassie on the boat and then do a tour around the outside and then cut through the middle of Tassie and do all the nice driving roads, the Targa Tasmania driving roads, while stopping off at a bunch of locations and just generally having a good time with our children. So that means that I do need to get this car finished in about 9 months, which sounds like a long time, but the thing is I only get to work on this car about 1 day a week, maybe 2 if I'm lucky, which doesn't leave me a lot of time. Obviously 9 times 4 is 36, so around about 36 days. That also, it's actually 10 months, but I'm giving myself a month to get it registered and then take it to work as much as I can and take it on road trips to make sure this thing works. Because, you know, fully freshly built car with a new engine and gearbox and everything, new wiring. I want to drive it and make sure it works before I go cruising around Tassie in it where I have no support. So that's my deadline, and even though I'm pretty confident my wife won't leave me if I don't get this car done, I do want to get it done, otherwise we'll have to take another car, and I don't have enough money to get the saw working right, so it'd have to be one of the dailies, which isn't as fun, you know. We want to go and do it in a nice little sports car. Obviously money is the other issue, so I did some rough maths last night, and I figured out if I can sell enough Nugget Project like brake ducts and gauge pods and t-shirts and a little bit of YouTube earnings. I don't make much, about $100 a month off YouTube if I'm lucky. If I make a couple of $100 a week, I should make enough money to get this all finished, keeping these wheels without going to fancy wheels, and selling off a little bit of the donor car parts. So I'm going to buy a donor car for the engine and the gearbox, and now I'll sell off the rest of the car in parts and hopefully make some cash back. So I can do it. It's just going to be tight. And obviously, I said 36 days seems like a lot of time, but when you break it down, it's not a lot of time at all. So let's get stuck into this. Now, before I go putting all the panels on the car, there are a few panels I need to fix first. So we've got a new bonnet here. The old bonnet was very rusted underneath. It wasn't good. So I got this one. This is off a supercharged car. Absolutely no difference in the bonnet. It's exactly the same thing, just what it came off. And it does have a little bit of rust. Nowhere near as bad as my bonnet, but still needs to be fixed. So if I pull the camera off the tripod, you can see here we do have a little bit of rust along the front there, and same on the other side. It's not too bad, but I will need to cut it out and redo it. And there are little bits just down the side, like down here. I'm hoping I can get away with just giving that a clean up and a treat, but if I do need to cut it out and redo it, I'll have to. And the same, just little bits up here. This side's actually pretty good. Now I'd love to say that's the only rust I've got to repair, but there is more. Let me bring the boot lid over and show you that one. Okay, so this is the boot lid that came with the car, and we'll just show you that. Let's try and find the best way to stay. We get the camera. Now luckily this boot is nowhere near as bad as the bonnet, but it does have this section here, so I'm going to have to cut that bit out and replace that. It's no big deal. And I'm going to have a look at this, but I think that's just surface rust. I don't think it's that bad, so we'll give that a look. If I need to replace that, I will. And then the same on the other side here. We just need to check that out. I really don't think it's that bad. So this one shouldn't take me too long. But wait, there's more. hold on to your butts. Let me go and get the quarter panels. Okay, let me shut the garage door so you can see me. So, I said quarter panel, I meant fender. Sorry, I get confused. So this is what a quarter panel of an AW11 should look like. This one's actually pretty good. It's got a little bit of surface rust on the inside, but nothing substantial. That's good. This, on the other hand, is not good. As you can see, it's missing all of that section and a lot of this. So, yeah. Now, I've been trying to get another fender, sorry, but with not much luck. I did find one, but it was stupidly expensive, and it was on the other side of the country. So, what I'm gonna do is try to rebuild this myself. The good news is I have one good fender as a template, and it's just a mirror image. So if I make a cardboard template off of that one, I can transfer it onto this, flip it over the other way, and I've got a template. Now the good news is, this front section here does have the front, what do you call it, trim piece, like the side skirt actually comes up here a fair bit. So it does hide a lot of what I'll be repairing, so we won't be able to see it, which is really good news. Same with the front. I've got my new lip that comes up here. It should all be hidden underneath trim parts. If that's the case, it doesn't really matter if it's not the most perfect job ever. It just needs to be strong, sealed, and work. So, but I need to know where those trim panels fit. So I think the best thing to do now, let's put all the panels back in this car, make it look like a car again, which will be very exciting because I've forgotten what it looks like with all the panels on. And then I can mark up where all this sits. We can see if anything's not fitting properly, everything's a bit whack, and go from there in fixing all this stuff. Let's do it. Back of the spoiler that doesn't exist on mine. I could get one maybe from the wreckers over in England or something like that. But I think I'm gonna have a go at making my own. So I'm gonna 3D print a housing. I've got a little LED triangular stoplight that looks pretty cool. So I think I'm gonna try and make something that integrates with the spoiler myself. Because why not? So good. All right, now for the deck lid, the engine bay lid, let's go grab that from the other shed. Cool. Now if you've been following along from the start, you remember that we have a supercharged deck lid. Now this is different as opposed to the bonnet. This actually has the bigger chunkier vents. The normal one, this whole lid isn't raised here. It's all flat and it's just got two little vents. This has the big chunky vents, looks cool. It's also made out of fiberglass, which is pretty rad. So yeah, I just like the look of it and I got it cheap. So let's pop that on. Oh, Jesus, maybe I should have done this one first. So one thing with this is I did have to relocate the boot latch 110 mil over from memory. Like it's completely offset on the other. I have no idea why. Like why would you design two of these lids with a latch in a completely different spot? It's very strange. But anyway, so I've moved the latch over and that now fits really well. I think it looks rad too. Okay, there's two panels that go in here. They're in the other shed. Let me go grab those. All right, so these are the two little panels that fit in there. So they just go there. Look like they're soft tappers. I don't think I'll bother bolting them in just now. Cool. Ha! Sick. Obviously, you adjust all those up to make it fit nicely. But that's pretty rad. The other thing on this too is that the bonnet support, the little arm that holds the boot lid. Oh my God, So many hatches on this. Not the bonnet, the deck lid, the engine bay cover. Usually on the NA, it's over here. Yep, and on this supercharged one, it's over here. So I now need to try and make that arm fit over here or do something else. I was going to use a gas strut, but honestly, I don't want the stress of a continuously pressurized gas strut on fiberglass because it just won't be good for it. So I'm going to work out a manual option for that. But I did get some gas struts for the front. Right, let's have a look at the rest. Okay, so these are the side skirt trim pieces, and these are what are going to save my bacon to hide some of my repairs. So I did replace this bottom section here, and to be honest, it actually looks really good compared to the other side where I bought the patch and it was freaking terrible. But yeah, this fits nicely. How does that fit? Like that. Okay, I've only put a couple of screws in, but yeah, sick. What a cool stock option. All needs a little bit of jiggery pokery, but it's pretty much in there. Alrighty, we'll save those screws for the other side. What else? It's pretty much the worst conditions to film, but it's a sunny day and the front of the car's here. What are you gonna do? So I did get this from China. They are gas struts for the front. So usually the front has just a little bonnet stay, but you know what? It's 2024. Let's upgrade the car. Zing shang. Cool. Let's put the hardware on there and see how we go. I have no idea how this works. There's no instructions. There's like a picture of the car. It says put them here. Sick. All right, so I don't know if you can see this, but we've got this little bracket here. That bracket goes to the bonnet, and then that little doovalaki goes here where the fender bolts on. So I guess we should bolt these to the bonnet first, and we'll put those, figure out where they go in the fender. Literally, this is the instruction sheet. It's got a picture of the car, and it says installation manual, refer to sample picture. It goes fixed bracket to A and B, and it's got like a circle, this massive picture of the car. It's so good. Okay, since the sun's so bad, I figured I'll move to small cam, but yeah, that's the instructions. Pretty terrible, but anyway. So it's got that little ball socket thing there, and it's not a 10mm, so I'm going to use an adjustable, some random size. Anyway, pop that one on there, and then it looks like this one goes where the hinge goes. So it bolts up to the hinge bolt somehow. What is going on here? Oh no! There's a broken bolt in there. Oh no, that's a problem. That broken bolt is going to be a bitch to get out. Anyway, that's a story for another time. Let's get this bonnet on. I've never seen this car with the pop-up headlights in, so I'm very keen to get those in as well. Can't power them up, but at least I can get it all looking like a car again. Okay, I had to loosen some stuff off. Those brackets are pretty gross, so I'm going to make something a bit sexier. That seems to be on, and even with just one side, it's not bad. Alright, let's put one on the other side. see how it goes. Alright, so on the other one, I just started this enough to get some traction. Pop this one on this end, and then kind of push the bonnet up enough to clip that one on and then tighten it up. Or do I do it the other way around? Oh no, here we go. So, there's this there. Go with that. Ha! How good. Okay, now the real test. So we've got both our struts in there. Make sure nothing goes whoop-a-chang. What am I missing here? I think maybe those brackets are supposed to be the other way around, so they sit up higher. Let's try that. Okay, I'll switch them round. I'm not stoked with how the bracket's sitting, but let's see if it actually... not bad. It's actually not that bad a kit. It's just those brackets need a bit of work. I might actually modify them, weld them up to cover that entire thing, because that one's already trying to move. It's not great, so. All right, well, it works. But for 30 bucks, it's worth a go. Hopefully the struts last a while. I don't know. I like having a gas strut. It's like my Sora. That's pretty cool. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I've never actually had the front of this car together. Like, since I've owned it, it rocked up pretty much looking how it looks now. So all this is new to me. I have no idea how it goes together. Now this crash bar, I do have two of these because I bought another bumper, and I'm just gonna, I don't know which one's the best. I think this might be the worst one off the other bumper I bought. So I'm just gonna pick the best one, clean it up, de-ruster, and roll with that. So this is the front bit that holds the radiator in, and also the bonnet latch. The bonnet latch isn't on there at the moment. Let's see if the other one's in better nick. This does look in much better condition. Much better. All right, well, that answers that question. I guess we'll be using this one. Okay, this is the OG bumper that came with the car. The blue one I got is still in pieces. But this has a lot of the hardware to kind of, sort of put it together. Whoa, okay. Okay, so I've got my original front lip skirt thing, which is completely cactus. I don't even know how this fits on, to be honest. I'm gonna have MR2 people screaming at the TV for this, I know, because they're very knowledgeable, but also not the most tactful bunch. And then these came with the blue bumper, and I think they're off a later model. So, how does this one fit up? It obviously, okay. Okay, I think it does that. Okay, so that bolts in there. This might end up all being a custom job, to be honest. All right, so I bought this front lip from New Zealand, and I have no idea how and if it fits. Two hands for this, but okay. I think a bit of fabricating, I can make this work. So I think this is where maybe the grill fits in. I do have a grill, let's have a look. Here we go, so we've got this little plastic grill. So I'm hoping that would have been too easy, wouldn't it? Okay. I reckon it's a different grill because that fits in there. Once again, all the MR2 guys will be screaming at me, well, duh, dickhead. So, I guess the answer is now, do I try to find, because that fits pretty well. So if I can find a grill off a later model, zap that up. That's a cool looking lip though, hey. That's sick. I really like that. They always had a bit of an underbite, these cars. Or overbite, so whatever that is. But that really takes that away. Do I either rebuild these, because a lot of it's going to be hidden under that. God, it's pretty cactus though. Find one of them, or do I just 3D print up and design some plates here and then do some nice mesh in there? It's also an option and a much cheaper one because budgets are pretty low at the moment. I couldn't help myself, I had to tape it on. It's a bit on the piss, but that looks sick, hey? I'm pretty happy with that. That's gonna make the front of that car look so much more aggressive. Hell yes, so cool. Okay, so that's pretty much how that all sits. Now I need to figure out, yeah, what to do with this grill. So obviously the grill usually sits in, oh yeah, that's the notches for the tow hooks. It sits in like that with the old bits. But yeah, it would be nice to get those, get a proper one. So hard to get parts in Australia for this stuff though. I'll ask around, but I am half tempted to just make something. All right, both buckets in. Let's shut this bonnet and have a look. Yeah. Obviously the buckets need adjusting, but oh man. The first look at what my MR2 will look like and I'm freaking stoked. How sick does that look with that front lid? Oh dude. Okay, I haven't put the side skirts on that side. I've got to do that next. But let's go put the spoiler on. We'll show you that and then we'll move on. I just wanted to see it together. Spoiler time. So you can see here where the stoplight assembly kind of thing goes. Yeah, so I'm going to make up something there. So I've got like a little triangular stoplight, so I can make a little housing that sits up and sits in there, and I think that'll look pretty cool. So that's on the list to make. And one of these studs, is it this one? Yeah, this stud's missing. So I'm going to have to try and pull that out and fix that up. All right, very last thing, rear bumper. Maybe I did have this on the car. I really can't remember, it's so long ago. This thing is all going to need to be pulled apart. Need a lot of love because it is rusty and freaking gross. But It's a problem for another time. God, this thing's heavy. Okay. And there we go, bit of a self-indulgent day today. I really wanted to see this car back together because it really helps with motivation to see it kind of get a glimpse of what it's going to look like. And it looks sick. I'm so stoked. Like, it's such a cool looking 80s retro car. And with that cool front lip and stuff on it, it's sick. So what I've done now is I've written up a new list of everything I need to do to this car to get it ready for autumn next year. So I did have half that side of that list was rust. Obviously that's all pretty much done, but there's little bits in the boot and the bonnet. So I've scrubbed that out and yep, started again with the new list. There's a lot on that list to do. So now, the good thing is now I've seen this car kind of together, I've got an idea of what I need to do before I start paint prep. So that's really the next big thing. But I do know there's a stud broken off in that spoiler. I need to try and get that out. There's that bolt broken off that holds that guard on, and there's like only one bolt that holds that guard on, so it's pretty important I make that work. So I've got to try and get that out. I need to make a way to hold that new front lip on nicely. Like, I showed the picture to a couple of people and they're like, oh sweet, so you're just going to screw it through? No, God no, it's disgusting. So what I want to do is I am going to bond some nuts or clips on the inside to hold it, but underneath I've also ordered some really nice countersunk bolts with some big alloy washers, like 30mm washers underneath, which will hold it all up really nicely and look really good too. Plus it gives it a little bit of protection. If I do scrape the road, they're going to have those bolts sitting underneath to scrape first before the fiberglass lip does. So I need to figure out all that and make sure that all fits. Also, I want to make that grille. So I could buy a later model 89 grille and with a bit of mods it should fit fine, but I think I'm just going to have a go at making my own. I've ordered some nice alloy mesh which will sit in there, and then I just need to design a 3D print the sections that clip into those metal bits and then make a bar and everything to make it all fit. And I think that'll look pretty cool. And it'll be a bit unique, a bit more custom and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, anyway, that's the end of this video. As I said, a bit of a self-indulgent one. I just wanted to see it back together, but hopefully you enjoyed seeing it all come back together too. And in the next episode, we can start fixing all those 1%ers because there is a lot of them. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.